In the flickering glow of digital arena, where every stream is a soapbox and every chat a chorus of outrage and memes, Gillie's fiery takedown of the NFL's late draft of Shedeur Sanders feels less like a sports rant and more like a Spike Lee joint gone rogue.
To all my folks out there, right? I just want y'all to know that when you're a black man in America, right, sometimes you get reminders. You know what I mean? As a successful black man in America, I often get reminders. And in the Shedeur Sanders situation, this is just a reminder that you can do everything right in life. You can come from a good family. You could be a good student. You could be a God-fearing kid. You could be a hard worker. You could beat the odds. Your dad could be a Hall of Fame player, and you can beat the odds because not too many Hall of Fame players have good kids. So you can beat the odds. You can beat, he ain't his daddy. You can beat all of that growing up. But you still get a reminder that you just a man. That's it. We sitting here looking at a public execution going on right in front of our eyes. Where it's like, we just got to remind you that you just. There's no other way to look at it. There's a lot of black analysts on TV, but they got to keep it corporate. They can't say what it is. They got to keep it corporate. I just think this is unbelievable. No, sometimes as a black man in America, you get reminded that you just. Don't matter how much work you put in. Don't matter. None of that don't matter. You got to understand. I arrived at a hotel in Boston, right? And I get to the front desk and I say, is there any way I could get a suite? And this lady looked at me and she said, I'm sorry. She didn't press one button. She says, I'm sorry, it's no suites in the building. They're all sold out. As she's saying it, a white man is walking out the back. And he said, Gillie, oh man, I love you. Man, I love what you do for the community, man. You're a great guy. She handed me my room key. I get up to my floor. When the elevator opened, the white guy's on my floor. And he says, Gillie, I don't know why she told you there's no suites available. Every suite in the building is open, Gillie. Come back downstairs, man. We're going to put you in a suite. But it was just a reminder that you just. That lady looked at me and said, there's no suites. Before I make this hotel thousands of dollars, I would rather your black ass be in a suite. So in life, you get reminded sometimes that you just, no matter how much work you put in, how much good you do, you just.
Raw, righteous, and pulsing with the rage of a man who's seen the script and knows it's rigged. Picture it, Gillie, a streamer with the charisma of a street preacher and the swagger of a stand-up comic, laying bare the soul-crushing spectacle of Shedeur Sanders, the Colorado quarterback prodigy, plummeting to the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. It's not just a draft slide, it's a public execution. A reminder, as Gillie sees it, that no matter how much a black man achieves, good family, good grades, God-fearing, Hall of Fame pedigree, the system will always find a way to put him in his place. This isn't just a roast of the NFL. It's a liberal elegy for a world where talent and hustle are no match for the invisible hands of bias, a comedic tragedy where the heroes are humbled, the villains are faceless, and the truth is a whisper drowned out by the roar of the crowd. Let's set the stage. Gillie, a streamer whose real-world grit and virtual bravado have carved him a niche in the chaotic content landscape, is no stranger to calling out injustice. His platform, a mix of gaming, reactions, and real talk, is a megaphone for the disenfranchised, a space where the personal and political collide like a fumble in the end zone. Shedeur Sanders, the son of NFL legend Deion Sanders, was supposed to be the draft's golden child. A quarterback with pinpoint accuracy, a Heisman contender, and a media darling whose watch flex touchdown celebrations went viral from Boulder to X, yet In a draft that saw him projected as a top-5 pick, Sanders fell to the Cleveland Browns at number 144, a fifth-round afterthought in a class where lesser talents like Jackson Dart and Dillon Gabriel were snatched up earlier. Gillie's rant, delivered with the cadence of a man who's been burned one too many times, frames this slide as more than a scouting misstep. It's a systemic slap, a reminder that in America, a black man's success is always on borrowed time. From a liberal perspective, Gillie's commentary is a Molotov cocktail lobbed at the heart of the NFL's corporate machine. His invocation of Sanders' virtues, hard work, faith, a Hall of Fame father, echoes the liberal belief in meritocracy, the idea that talent and effort should trump all. Yet the draft's outcome, with Sanders passed over by quarterback-needy teams like the Giants, Saints, and Steelers, feels like a betrayal of that ideal. The liberal heart aches at this, because it sees in Sanders slide a broader truth. Systemic racism doesn't need a smoking gun to wound. It works through whispers, anonymous leaks, and the vague concerns that dogged Sanders' pre-draft process. Reports of his arrogance at the combine, his father's outsized influence, his refusal to play the humble prospect game, all became ammunition for a league that, as Gillie suggests, prefers its black quarterbacks meek and malleable. It's a narrative that plays like a third-act twist in a Coen brothers farce. The hero does everything right, only to find the game was rigged from the start. But let's not get too somber. This is Gillie, after all, and his delivery is pure internet theater, a blend of righteous fury and comedic flair that turns a draft snub into a cultural referendum. His anecdote about the Boston hotel, where a white guest's casual kindness exposes the clerk's bias, is a masterclass in storytelling, a punchline that lands like a haymaker. It's not just about a suite, it's about the everyday slights that remind black men, as Gillie puts it, you just don't matter. The image of him standing at the front desk, credentials ignored, while a white stranger gets the red carpet treatment, is peak content, funny, infuriating, and impossible to ignore. Gillie's laughter, his exasperated "you just," trailing off into the void, is the sound of a man who's seen the system's playbook and refuses to play along. He's not just roasting the NFL. He's roasting the myth of a post-racial America, and the chat is eating it up like it's Super Bowl Sunday. This saga unfolds like a mashup of Do the Right Thing and Moneyball. Gillie is the righteous provocateur, railing against a system that chews up black talent and spits out excuses, while Sanders is the flawed hero, a quarterback whose swagger and stats should have guaranteed a first-round nod, but instead landed him in draft purgatory. The NFL is the faceless antagonist, a corporate Goliath hiding behind scouting reports and cultural fit to justify its choices. The draft slide is the MacGuffin, a plot device that drives the narrative but reveals more about the characters than the outcome itself. And the audience, with a chorus, scrolling through X, nodding at Gillie's truth while grappling with the sinking, feeling that this drama is bigger than any one player. It's a film that's equal parts satire and sermon, a comedy that leaves you questioning whether to cheer for the underdog or rage at the game. From a vantage point, Gillie's rant is both a battle cry and a lament. His framing of Sanders' slide as a public execution resonates with a community all too familiar with the spectacle of black excellence being diminished, whether through media leaks, draft boards, or hotel lobbies. The liberal soul knows this pain intimately. It's the pain of a world where systemic bias lurks in every decision, where a black quarterback's confidence is labeled arrogance, while a white prospect's bravado is called leadership. Reports from the draft process, Sanders' refusal to attend certain team visits, his sandbagging of combined interviews, his father's vocal advocacy, paint a picture of a prospect who dared to control his narrative only to be punished for it. The liberal heart sees this as a miscarriage of justice. A reminder that the NFL, for all its diversity rhetoric, remains a plantation of power where black players are expected to conform or be cast aside. Yet there's a complexity here that the lens can't ignore. Sanders' slide wasn't without reason. Scouts questioned his arm strength, his pocket presence, his ability to translate Colorado's offense to the NFL's brutal stage. These critiques, while technical, carry the weight of bias when viewed through Gillie's eyes. The liberal soul wrestles with this because it knows that talent alone isn't enough in a league where fit often means fitting into a narrow mold of acceptability. Gillie's hotel anecdote, a microcosm of this dynamic, mirrors the draft's anonymous leaks about Sanders' personality or Deion's distraction. It's a reminder that systemic racism doesn't always scream. It whispers in scout reports, in front desk dismissals, in the subtle ways black men are told they're too much. The liberal heart aches for Sanders, for Gillie, for every black man who's been reminded, as Gillie says, that their work don't matter. Still, let's not pretend Gillie is here to deliver a policy paper. His rant is a performance, a high-wire act of rage and wit that thrives on the energy of chat. His invocation of the corporate black analysts, too afraid to call a spade, is a delicious jab at the media machine that sanitizes racism into draft stock concerns. It's a punchline that lands because it's true. The NFL's talking heads, from ESPN to Fox, danced around Sanders' slide with platitudes about fit and value, while ex-posts erupted with accusations of racism and demands for accountability. Gillie's refusal to play that game, to call the draft what it is, a public humiliation, is pure gold, a moment where the platform's rawness becomes a megaphone for truth. His laughter, his exasperated storytelling, is the internet equivalent of a stand-up comic roasting a heckler, and it works because it's so human. Who hasn't felt the sting of being overlooked, dismissed, reminded that no matter how much you achieve, you're still just? This feels like the second act of a sprawling sports drama where the hero faces their greatest setback. Gillie is the narrator, a streetwise prophet exposing the NFL's underbelly, while Sanders is the protagonist, a kid whose dreams were deferred by a system that doesn't play fair. The draft is the crucible, a 3-day spectacle that strips away illusions and lays bare the league's priorities. The audience is left to grapple with the stakes. Will Sanders rise above the snub, proving the doubters wrong, or will he be another cautionary tale in a league littered with them? It's a question that hangs over every frame, a tension that makes Gillie's rant both infuriating and irresistible.